just waiting for Mariah. Hopefully, you can get the merge to go. Yay! I see you. It says it's adding.
Yay!
Hi, it worked.
Yes. Okay. Oh my gosh, that was scary. It like wasn't doing anything, and I'm like, I'm here.
I know, that was weird.
That was whatever. We made it.
Okay, which one? This one? Okay, we're back. I'm so sorry. Technical difficulties. Well, we are here. We made it. Welcome back to Monumental Minds, where every mind matters. I'm Megan Rose.
And I'm Mariah Ray, and we're the co-owners and founders of MR2 Connections Incorporated. Super excited to be here with you this week again. We're going to kind of go on our own little talk again this week because we're just called to speak with you guys with a few more things. And I think it turned out really good for us, right? Because it's really allowing our people to get to know us. So we're super excited to be here with you guys, and we are getting a fun guest lineup going. It's just taking a little bit more time, but I'd rather it be set than, few and far between as they get to know us. So I'm excited to be here with you guys, and I know Megan is as well. Tonight, I think it's going to be a little bit about like bravery and fear and facing those things and really owning those things. So to kind of kick it off, I wanted to read a quote out of the High Five Journal. So Mel Robbins, it goes along with her High Five Habit book, which we love, right? Everyone's digging it. Fans love her. But we're really inspired by her. I love the text
messages I get every morning.
Yes.
Or every day, rather. Every day I get the text messages from Mel. I love her.
Yes. And they're the greatest, right? They're like a great pick-me-up. I love them. And then across the phone, it's like, Mel Robbins, and I get all excited.
I know, the first time she's like, I'm talking to Mel. I'm like, what do you mean?
I'm doing it, girl.
I'm like, oh my God, I can
manifesting it. It's going to happen for real one day. But yeah, so this is from her High Five Journal, and it really just touched us in a few different ways, and led us to kind of thinking about some important topics to us. So I'm going to share it with you guys. It says, you can feel sure about your dreams and be terrified of them at the same time. There is an art to ride the waves of emotion, the ups and the downs, without getting stuck in the low, scary moments. Building your inner confidence gives you the courage to go after what you want. And if you get knocked down, it gives you the resilience to get right back up and keep trying.
I love that. And I relate so much. I feel like it just hits home for me. And with our journey, even with Monumental Minds, I mean, our first full episode was actually only 8 minutes long.
Yes.
We were so scared. But, that's what it is. It's, allowing yourself to feel the emotions, accept them, experience them, figure it out, figuring out what serves you and what doesn't, and move on and build up that resilience and keep getting up and trying over and over. And here we are.
Right, because I think so oftentimes we look at people, right, that are like successful or like have it together, right? And we think that like it must be easy for them now, but I really don't think that's it. I think, like they're just learning how to deal with this, and they become more consistent with like what they're doing to take care of themselves,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But I really love it, and it really hit home. And actually another thing that I thought of when I was thinking of this quote was we had the High Five Journal, and we actually read this quote before we even like started Monumental Minds, and we had said like we're gonna quote this quote on Monumental Minds. So it's just crazy how we've actually gotten into airing, and now here we are actually quoting the quote. So it's nice to be able to like see our dreams manifest just little by little, and like Mel would say it too, like really just celebrating those small wins. Like, yes, we said the quote, we're in it, we're doing it, we're being consistent, and like that's great, and like celebrate that and celebrate the little stuff.
I'm really, being brave enough to even speak those things into existence. It was a big deal, even getting to the point where we were vocalizing what we wanted to do. I mean, it's
right.
Really easy to dream the dreams and keep them in your head, but when you do that, you silence so much, and when you start speaking them, it really becomes a reality, and you start moving towards those things. And even though it's scary and you're doing things you never thought in a million years you'd be doing, you know, week after week, you're just manifesting. You know, I love it. We've been doing it, and we just continue to do it.
It's actually like putting that action, right, to like what's in your head. And I think like so oftentimes we think of like the negative stuff we're thinking of, but no, like when we really bring like those positive things and like what we're grateful for, and we really start to highlight like out of gratitude instead, is I think it's easy to get in our heads and think of all the things that are holding us back, or the like, you know, just emotions of day to day and like the day-to-day hustle. But if we really think from like a gratitude point of view, and that's another thing that like this high five journal really really highlights, is gratitude. And it has you list that every day. So like in the morning, you are automatically looking through the lens of like gratitude and like, what am I thankful for? And I think at first it's weird writing that list, or like every day it's the same list, because you can't really think of anything else, right? But then when you really start to open up and like really practice writing what you're grateful for, you really start to like open up and like really start to feel that gratefulness at like a whole different level when you write it down.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's something I've incorporated into my daily routine for, I mean, my whole life. Took a huge turnaround in the most positive way once I started taking a step outside of this current situation. You know, sometimes you're just so blinded by, you know, grief or trauma or anxiety or fear or depression or whatever it is that you're facing that moment. You're blinded to what you're actually truly blessed with at the end of the day, and it's so much. So we would take, I do this every day. I'll take 3 things that I'm proud of. I'll take 3 things that I'm excited for, and 3 areas of opportunity.
I love that.
Things that I want to continue to work towards. And it keeps you focused. And like you said, sometimes it's the same thing every day, but consistency is everything when you're moving towards what you want to achieve.
Right. And Mel does that good. She says, you know, like the dreams are big, but the goals are small. So like, and I think that's another big thing, especially like with ADD and ADHD, you know, you really have to think about, even with anxiety, because that gets us right, like off on tangents and like in these thought, you know, wheels in our heads, and like really sitting down and focusing for a second, you know, and on really what we're grateful for, and you know what's challenging us. And self-reflection is, oh, look at Tazzy, he's being such a good boy.
He's being so good. He
Oh,
was so good last time.
maybe he's getting used to the show. He's like, forgive me fan. He's sweet, I promise. But yeah, I think, you know, everything is when we put it in consistency and we put it in daily practice. And I think like it's definitely really helped, I think, both of us, just reflecting and journaling. And right, it doesn't have to look any certain type of way too, like you're journaling.
Oh, it's like chicken scratch half the time, but you're writing it down, right?
Right. And I was so challenged by that at first, because like I wanted it, like my journal to like look a certain type of way, and I was like, oh, it's got to be so pretty and look this way. And like the only time I could ever be consistent with it was when I wasn't worrying so much about how the journal looked that nobody was going to read, you know, but myself. Like it's more just to reflect on what you're thinking throughout the day and like get it out of your head and on paper.
I even, like, before I even got a journal, when I was I just moved from Iowa, and I had this like plastic bin. I had nowhere to like write my songs or I'm like, I need to write. I need to get it out. So I took a permanent marker and started writing off my plastic bins on the top of my bin. So you'll see like random thoughts and ideas. And
I mean, I think it's huge, like what you were saying, like getting it from your brain to like actually doing it. Like I think writing it is like that little step in between that helps you kind of like take that action, makes it a little bit more real than just in your head. Then it goes on paper, and then it goes on paper, and then you can kind of like take it into action.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I love the dream journals too, because even like when I'm sleeping, I'm like, I know that was a sign. What was it? I'll like jot it down, because I'll forget the second. So I've been better at it.
Yeah, like keeping those little, our little journals right by the bed. And I mean, that's what's nice about them too, because you can keep like those crystal sets right underneath the pillow. And then like the moment you wake up, or you wake up in the middle of the night and like realize it's that certain time or whatever, you have that consistent time you're waking up at, or whatever the sign may be, but like able to write that down and like actually find patterns in that. help us get out of
Yeah.
like, I think so often we just get stuck in like the daily, right? Like, oh, this worry, this stress. And but really like just if we just really like looked on the inside a little bit and like really explored ourselves, like there's so many more things, right?
Right. And I mean, anxiety can be so crippling in that sense because you're just so
Mm-hmm.
sidetracked by the things. And if you just, again, take a step back outside of the situation, try to figure out what is triggering this emotion, accept it, feel it, own it.
Right.
It's not serving me, so chuck it.
Right.
I'm like, okay, okay. It's okay that I'm feeling this way. I understand why I'm feeling this way. This is how I can change it and make myself not feel this way.
Right.
And usually, I mean, 90% of the time it's self-inflicted, whether I put myself in a situation that's making me feel uncomfortable or I forgot to do something. Procrastination was always a big thing for me. And it would cause me so much anxiety in everything I did because I would put it off. And like the whole time, whether I feel like I'm relaxing or not on a subconscious level, I'm worrying about the things that I'm pushing off, pushing off, pushing off.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's like and I don't know what I was listening to. I listened to so many like self-development things, and I think that's big for like anybody listening that needs self-care. You can literally YouTube, you know, like anything that you want that you're looking for like self-development wise on YouTube, Google, and they'll come up with so much stuff if you just need something to like be able to pour in and you don't have Audible like one of the other apps. There's definitely plenty out there for everyone. But you know, I've been pouring into a lot of these things, and they've been talking about a lot of these like similar topics about self-reflection and you know just how anxiety and things can often, it's so often like any mental health illness is fought mostly internally. So it's really hard, right, without one of these outlets, journaling, a therapist, somebody you speak to, you know, your person that you speak to all that like inside stuff with, right? If you don't have that, you know, you're so in your head and you're so internally in there with that anxiety and the depression. And like that's another reason why we love having this platform, right? Like we're such an open book to those sort of things.
Right, right. I love this platform. I'm loving it more and more and more. And like, I just, as scary as the idea was forming
Mm-hmm.
into it and getting into it, it's been so liberating and just really life changing in the way it's held us accountable
Right.
day to day to day. And I just love it. And I just, we hope to share the same empowerment and the same freedom with other people. I mean, it might not be in such a public way for some people. It's just, I mean, it is what it is, but you finding that person, finding someone, even if it's just your higher power. I've been through those times where
Yep.
my higher power was my everything, and that's all I had to talk to. But I laid it all out there,
Right.
just getting it out, was letting it sit and linger, and not, really working through the emotions. Like she said, it's the art of riding the waves of emotion, right?
It truly is. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the way she words it. It's so it's powerful, and you can really, what's the word I'm looking for? Redirect and navigate through properly in order to accomplish what we need to accomplish while allowing ourselves to feel how we need to feel.
Right. And being able to like ride those waves better than like just crash into them every single time, you know? Really learn how to ride those waves of emotion, those emotions, and like how to handle them. And that's why it's so important, right, that you have that toolbox.
And
Um,
sometimes you just don't handle them right. Like, you should have seen me last week. I almost lost it. I'm the pizza man, delivering my pizza 4 different times to the wrong house. I felt some type of way.
but that's also another sign of like anxiety and high functioning anxiety is like irritability. And I think that's something that until like we had started looking up, things and trying to be more of a student on like mental health issues, I looked up.
Always the students. Always the students.
Yes, absolutely. And it was saying that like irritability is a big part of that. And I think like I always just being my own critic was like, oh, I must just be to this week, I must be extra bitchy or something. Or, like I would always blame it on myself. I didn't think that was like, I think,
Blame it on the PMS.
yeah, exactly. Like it must be coming soon. I don't know. But then it felt like it was all the time. So I'm like, there's gotta be, it's gotta be something more, right? But like I think as you really look at like all these things, I was looking at like depression, anxiety, and kind of rolled in with ADD or ADHD, and a lot of them like trigger each other. So it's really like figuring out I don't know, like that core thing, right? Or whatever we're getting hung up on, or whatever
ADHD will
emotion.
trigger anxiety attack any day. Because
Right.
you'll get like deep into a project and then get so lost and then mess up. It's a chain
And then we
reaction. It's
create
a
that
butterfly.
stress that you said because of the procrastination,
And then
right?
you crash, and then there's the depression.
Yep. Yeah.
It is a chain reaction in so many cases.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, we never understood it. Like, I never understood it that well, like, until recently, you know, until you really start to look at yourself and, like, be curious about why things are happening in your life the way that they are, you know?
Oh yeah, I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason. I'm like, okay, why?
Right.
Where
Who
am I going to
asked
go with
you?
this now?
Right. Oh my gosh.
I have to believe that. I have to.
Right.
And ever since I was pretty young, I was like deep into prayer at the time. I guess you could call it meditation, whatever you believe. But I just really felt this calling, and I mean, like it happened yesterday. I'll never forget it. It was clear as day. I'm going to take you over the highest mountains, through the darkest valleys, through the deepest oceans. But you will rise up and you will do great things for me. I'm like, dang right, I will.
Yeah.
I'm getting out there, but I held on to that. I'm like, no matter what I go through, no matter what I face, no matter what trauma, there's a purpose and there's a reason I'm here, and I'm worthy of that. And I'm going to hold on to that. I'm worthy of accomplishing my dreams. I can do anything I want to do and everything I aspire to do. We want to encourage people to do the same and
Right.
lift you up. And in those times of doubt, self-doubt is just so,
It's crippling.
it can cause so much destruction, and fear really leads into that in such a heavy way. So you just doubt yourself, you doubt your dreams, you doubt your goals, you doubt your ability, and then you just don't try. And I've been
Right.
there.
Right. And then that depression kicks in and it's, oh, well, I'm not good enough. And then that whole cycle like starts over. And I think it's important, right, that we do kind of like learn how to quiet yourself a little bit more, whatever it may be, like through meditation or yoga or whatever works for, each individual. But just to be able to really feel those feelings. I know self-doubt is something that I've been working on a lot in this past week as well.
And I'm so proud of you. Ooh.
Yes,
It's like night and day.
I was scared, I was frightened, but like even to go into the whole thing, so this week I did some like mindset coaching with one of a really good friend that I met actually through social. I don't even know how long we've been friends now. It seems like she's been like a lifetime friend, and I've been seeing her, through
I love
social this
social
whole
media
time.
for that.
Yeah, I have, you know what? I have a really good bunch of social friends, okay? Like, I have some people that back me up on social, okay? I
They
have a
are the
strong
fam.
crew. They're
You guys
great.
are family.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Especially like
Really,
in a time
truly.
like this, like the world's hard. Like we can't necessarily be out and doing events, but this is allowing us to like reach way more people than we could ever even dream of right now.
Yeah. It's amazing the people that you've been able to connect with. So tell us a little bit more about the mindset coaching that you did with her.
Yes. So Colleen, like shout out to Colleen. You're amazing. It really did help me kind of again reflect in these last 24 hours. She kind of gave me a goal to just reflect after we got done with our call. It was to like reflect for 24 hours and kind of challenge some of the things that we talked about. So I went into this kind of with a blank mind. I was talking to Megan, I'm talking to my friend Kathy. I'm like, I have no idea what to expect. I'm extraordinarily nervous. Should I do this? Like, what in the world am I gonna figure out about my mindset that, and I think you get scared about the unknown, right? Ultimately, the fear. Like, and what's Colleen gonna do to me? I love her. She is great. She is kind. She is strong. Like there was nothing to really fear. And so like once I finally conquered that in my own head, and I was like, you know what, this can only help me. So like we gotta go in, and like anything that can help right now and open up another light for us, like I just wanna explore it. So we got on a Zoom call, and she just kind of, right off the bat was really helped me get intentional and in my own body, which sometimes with like doing the business and trying to grow, right? Doing TikToks and reels and Facebook, and like you
Oh my
get,
God, how fun.
right.
I
And then
just
it's
love
like
it. I
you
just love
so
every bit
often
of it.
don't like feel, right? Your own feel. You're so busy working and growing and being busy and coming up with new ideas. And like, although that's fun, it's like, what's challenging me to like not open up more than I am? Because I know there's so much more for both of us to share. And I'm like trying to figure out like, what is it that's blocking myself? And like, she just had me close my eyes and like put my hand on my heart, which I really love. That's another thing that Mel does as well, like putting your hand on your heart to really ground you. Or if you have crystals, grounding crystals, love them too for really grounding.
Over your heart,
Yeah.
over the heart chakra. Ooh, yes.
Yes. And so like she had me do that, and she really just asked me like, what's bothering you? You know, what's holding you back? And like my automatic is funny because my automatic reaction is, I don't know. You know? So she's like, oh no. We're not gonna do that, you know, because I think that's everybody's block, right? They're just like, oh, I don't know, because then like they don't have to think about what's hurting them. Right. Like if I just act like I don't know, then I won't have to do any work on it. But then it was like, okay, it's like, no, really sit with it, you know, and what do you feel? And like, where are you drawn to in your body that feel like, where's that sensation? And for me, it just so happened to be my heart. And, you know, and I just felt like some sort of heaviness on my chest. And like when I really got to thinking about what that feeling was or why my chest was heavy, which normally I would just like cover it as anxiety, but like digging even further in to more of like understanding the anxiety, like what am I afraid of, what am I fearful or anxious of, and we really got down to it after she just kept, you know, kind of asking and probing those questions, and it got down to self-doubt, you know. And it was really eye-opening because, you know, all the while I have my eyes shut, like she's just asking me these questions. It's almost like the questions are just inside my head, you know, and they're going, and I'm just coming up, and all of a sudden it's self-doubt. And it's crazy because, you know, I mean, we never say that we're perfect by any means, but we like to get on here and, you know, and preach this like good mental health and things like that. And I was really like, wow, I preach courage and confidence, but it's truly like a daily, right? Like something we have to work on daily.
Yeah.
Because like we said, like this isn't easy, and like we build our confidence week to week. Like you said, our first episode, 8 minutes, like we run off to the camera. What is
I
this?
ran so
You know,
fast.
yeah, we had no idea that it kept recording like for a few seconds after you hit
And I
finish.
kept
So here
running
we
around.
are, full conversation already, like things still going, you know, and afterwards you think of all the things, right? And that's just what happens. It feels like everything comes to you after the camera's off. But like it truly is like a daily thing. You know, coming up with that confidence and that courage. But we do like still doubt ourselves, and she just kind of encouraged me to kind of like come hand in hand with that fear or that doubt and kind of hold its hand and say like thanks like you said, like thanks for serving me, because like at the end of the day the self-doubt is there for a reason, you know, so you don't, you know, it's
It
maybe part
teaches
of,
you.
yeah, like I
It
may be just
teaches.
too vulnerable, or at that point it wasn't the time to share it, and so that doubt kicks in. Maybe it held me back at the right times, but then you almost let it conquer you completely, and then that's where you put things on the back burner and you're not going back, and you're passing those dreams by because you've let that doubt just completely take that thought or that dream or that goal and just crush it, you know.
Right.
So she really helped me like think on that, and then told me then to go and like hold the hand of that emotion and say like thanks for serving me, but like you're no longer serving me, and like now I'm gonna have to face you or face that fear, and kind of put you aside. And that like really helped me, I don't know, compartmentalize it in my head, or just help me understand it a lot better. So I've been trying to do that over the day, and I will say, like before getting on this live, it's been a lot better. I haven't like tortured myself mentally beforehand, like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do, you know, what if I freeze up, like what if I do, you know. And that's kind of what she said to me, like but what if, like what if you do. And that's another thing that I learned from Rachel Hollis, like one of our first like shared mentors together, is what if every woman lived out her what if. Like what crazy, like what crazy things would happen if everyone put that doubt aside, or like came side to side with that doubt and said like, okay, you've been great, but we're gonna push you aside now. And so it was just really like encouraging and empowering, I think, overall. And like she really helped me, like I think, stand tall against limiting beliefs. you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because they can tower, like those beliefs can tower above us so high. We
Right.
can just see limitless or endless or
Right.
what's the word I'm looking for.
No,
You get
yeah.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, they can just seem so overwhelming and you know, really block out some of our
Intimidating.
dreams. Mhm.
It's intimidating. But yeah, I mean, oh, it's like night and day every time. It gets easier and easier.
Right.
And you just see. I mean, it's a from moment to moment, even day to day, moment to moment. It's a constant choice. It's um, something that you work with and over. And I love the way she put it, with you know with the emotion. It's like exactly what Mel was talking about with riding the waves of emotion,
Mhm.
and exactly what she was teaching. I love the self development, and
Right.
I would love to have her as a guest.
Yes. Yeah, and
It sounds great.
she is great. She is great, and she yeah, and okay, and I mean, you'll totally love it because she has a story with crystals too. So you'll have to ask her about that. She asked me to tag her
Woo!
in the video too. Maybe I can do that while we're because she wanted to. Oh,
Yeah,
here we go.
I have to partake. That is
Yeah,
exciting.
maybe you can have a clarity call with her. It was just so great. I'll have to tag her in this afterwards because it's not letting me. But it was amazing to just stand, like I said, stand against like limiting beliefs in like a different way and not just push them away and let anxiety or depression or anything like that win, or that like ADHD win that day. And like so oftentimes, time to time, it's like, oh, we didn't complete that task, and then we get all mad at ourselves. But in the grand scheme of the day, like,
Right.
did we get were we did we accomplish this? Did we do this with gratitude? And like, are we showing up for ourselves? Then like, we did it today. And I think that's one of the things too when it comes to like running a small business. Like, a lot of people think, oh, with mental health, how am I going to run a business when I might have a down day, or I might have a down week? But I think, like, challenge yourself, because it's so doable.
We are running an empire.
That's right,
Woo!
honey. Yes.
Empire.
Yes,
We are running a corporation.
that's right.
What? We're
Wow.
doing it. We're doing the damn thing. And I love that we can bring you guys along with the journey and share that, because it is a daily thing. We want to share it with you. We want you to be a part of it, and we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you guys.
Right.
We appreciate your love and support so much. Oh my gosh, we're up to like 20,000 views.
Mind
Ah!
blown. Yeah. Yeah. And like, it was funny because in the beginning, we were talking about like 50 million followers, and that's kind of like Megan dreamed up this like crazy huge
250
goal.
million. 250 million.
Right. We still need
Billion. We
50
gotta
million
reach
followers.
everybody.
Yeah, it's been so rapid, and I think sometimes it's so easy to get down like, oh, like, we're on YouTube now, and like, that's blowing my mind, our minds, and like, Nina is that's her like selling point for me. She's like, my mommy is on YouTube. I mean, it's her go-to. She's like, can I see your picture on there? I'm like, yeah, honey, like, it's pretty cool, huh? Like,
Ah.
let's celebrate. We are doing it. And
She
and I
is
think
such
too,
a great cheerleader.
yeah, it's so like empowering for her. Like, you can do anything you want. And that's another big reason, she was my big why and got me out of a lot of things. I think now, um, the tables it's kind of cute to see it turning and her be able to really look up to like what we're doing as women, but not only as women, just as leaders, and people that are challenging, sometimes hard to talk about things, or things that people feel ashamed of bringing up or talking about because they're a mom, or because their house got messy because the depression got bad, or, like, that's the reality of it, right? Like, we're internal in it, and it's like that daily struggle, but we may still be going to work. We're still getting the kids to school. We're still doing the dishes most of the time, right? And folding most of the time. But I think there's a lot to be said with like, don't underestimate or stop taking care of your mental health, even when you feel like you're, doing the daily things and it's going well, because I think that's a big thing with the high functioning depression that I had to understand is like, even when I'm doing well and I'm going through life's motions, like, you can't you can't ever take your foot off your mental health, just like you wouldn't your physical health, or just like you shouldn't your physical health. And I think when your mental health goes, that's when you kind of let some of that physical health stuff go too. And like all that's hand in hand.
Right. Yeah, because you just lose the motivation because you don't see the value in yourself. You don't feel the self-worth. You don't feel the confidence is gone. There's
Right.
so many things that factor into that, and the depression just eats away. It really just it eats
Right.
away at your soul. If I look at pictures of myself, even just from like a few years ago, like the life had just been sucked out of me. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, you can see it. Like, so it is just, yeah, it's a daily thing. You're just working through it, and it's hard. It's hard because you do feel, and these are things that you should be like you do every day. You high five yourself. Like sometimes you're just kind of going through the motions, but taking time to,
Celebrate.
even if it's just like 2-3 minutes. Sometimes for me, it's 30 seconds of just
Yep.
freezing and taking a few deep breaths in, and just, what's the word I'm looking for? Just being in the moment.
Being
Um,
mindful, like, your
yeah,
one mindness training or teaching that you were doing.
yeah. Sometimes it's just that 30 seconds of decompressing and just separating yourself out of a moment of anxiety, or like, because I will literally find myself not breathing in those times when I'm just like so anxious and so like I'm hyperventilating, and then sometimes I'll just clench up and just,
Yeah.
and then I'm like turning blue and I'm like falling over. I'm like, oh wait, hold on, this
Right.
isn't this isn't that bad.
Like time to check in with myself and like really taking control back over your body. Like I think that's huge. And I think that's something that like Colleen really opened my eyes to, is really like taking back control instead of recognizing that you're having those feelings, right? Or you're feeling a certain way, or you're feeling anxious or sad or empty, all those feelings that come along with it. But like just feeling it and then being able to just kind of let it go,
Yeah.
and really, really sitting with it and truly honestly letting it go. And she gave me some tools. She did some of like the tapping stuff, and I'll share that on our MR2
Like the rubber
Connections page.
band, like snapping.
No, it was like I think it's called EFT tapping. Maybe, yeah, that was it. EFT tapping, and it was like tapping here and then tapping at certain places that like they would also use and like acupuncture and things. It's like a similar idea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
And
like
like,
it.
well, you have a statement. So you have like these negative statements that you're facing, and like you go through a whole like motion of things like with certain points, and while you're just tapping, like you're tapping on these points, and you're saying all these things, and it almost brings the emotion right from wherever it's being stored in your body, wherever you're feeling it in your body, and it brings it, and it kind of like brings it to the surface. And then you once you've finally got like all that negative emotion or limiting belief, once you've like gotten that to the surface, and you just go as many times as you need to while you're trying to like think of and bring this like feeling to the surface, and then you change it all and you go through the tapping with like the positive, right? Like the almost the
So you're
opposite.
like reprogramming your body
Right. And that's
because
something
it
that
goes
Mel
with the
talks about
physical.
big time, is like retraining your brain.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I mean, we can literally create any type of reality we want for ourselves. It's all the power of the mind and what we choose to focus on, and how you navigate through those emotions, and how, I mean, it can be physically just so taxing dwelling on the wrong emotion or thinking on the wrong thought. And it's amazing the things that you just manifest into your life once you start having that switch of the mind.
Right. Like just working on that little bit and like getting those like small consistent daily habits. And like those, I know in It Works we like to talk about like the daily non-negotiables, so like really putting in like daily non-negotiables for yourself. Getting it so easy to get caught up in like, okay, for work today I'm going to do this and this, and you know for my kid today I'm going to do this and this, and for my parents today I'm going to do this and this. But you never go like, for me today I'm going to high five myself or journal or
I want to do that. I want to do that so bad. I keep telling myself I'm going to do it. I need to just do it. The high fives. I just love the concept, and it's so cool. I mean, you're so consistent with it every day.
yeah.
On your timeline, you're hiving yourself, and even, and sometimes you're having an off day and you're in the bathroom 2, 3, 4 times, I'm
Right.
still high-fiving myself. And on those days, you need to celebrate even harder and even stronger to remember the things that you're doing well, because it can be you can be easily distracted or deterred in the wrong direction by anything that's happening in that moment. So it's good. Like, I love it. I love it.
Well,
It's
and that's what a
inspiring.
lot of like our, our role models and people that we look up to, like that's, I feel like a lot of the secret, right? Everyone wants to know what the secret is or how did you get here or whatever. But I think it's a combination of things, really. But I think for our role models that we're looking up to, they're just, they're showing up for themselves, like even on those hard days. They're still high-fiving themselves. They're still, moving their body. They're still hydrating, right? Because that's so important. Like I'm one to preach to myself, okay, because it's
Oh
really
God, I
hard for
love
me to drink
water. I'm
water.
so weird. I drink like 50 bottles of water a week.
I I,
I love water.
I still haven't
Oh,
drank any of mine yet.
oh, I just this is actually a vinegar, an apple cider drinking vinegar that you gave me. Um, I'm all about that
Yes,
natural healing stuff. But I'm a thirsty little fish. I just
yes.
drink it all.
Oh, and that's so good. But like, I think for me, that's one of my challenges. Like, I think getting hydrated will make me feel so much physically better. And I don't even know how much physically better it will. Cause like y'all, my favorite drink, Dr. Pepper, without a doubt, anybody that like even halfway knows me, like I've got to have Dr. Pepper. There's always Dr. Pepper in my fridge, right? And I can't like, you know,
um, well,
always.
it's like your Dr. Pepper is like my cheese. I
Yeah.
just can't give up cheese. I have
Yes.
that one. It's the one thing I can't give up. But I actually learned this in the. I did. It was like a self-development coaching. They did a whole segment on energy maintenance, and it was so incredible. And that's where I learned about the sleeping habits and being in the REM cycles. And they said
Oh,
that if
yeah.
you take even one sip of water every 20 minutes throughout the day, just one sip of water, you're going to notice your energy just being rejuvenated. And like your body's like a sponge, you can feel it
Challenge.
absorb 20 minutes, every 20 minutes, one sip of water. And it just makes a huge difference. I actually did that. Speaking of Cutco, hi Shane, one of my Cutco buddies, but it was in the Cutco training that we did, and we had with Vector Marketing, they were talking about energy maintenance and getting the proper amount of sleep. And this guy, Lord help me, I can't remember his name, but he's absolutely incredible. And he would get 4 hours of sleep a night,
Mm-hmm.
and he would get accomplished so much. But he got his 4 hours, 4.5 hours, sorry, 4.5 hours, and then every 4 hours during the day, he would take like a 10-15 minute nap, just a little cat nap, just to reboot his brain,
Mm-hmm.
and sip on water every 20 minutes, take a sip or two of water. And he was just a little firecracker. He was getting so much done. It was just incredible. So I've held on to that dearly with that training, and that energy maintenance is a big factor in how you get through the day.
Right. And how we're able to like pour into others, right, too. And there's so many things that I'm like trying to challenge myself with now that we are on this platform, that we're trying to reach out to people, because I want someone to be encouraged to do the same. Like if you have trouble like drinking water and daily and staying hydrated, please like contact me, because I need an accountability buddy. I can't like I really, I think that's what I need. And it's crazy because I love Dr. Pepper and all this, but I know realistically that like water is so good, and like you said, it is just crucial to like our energy and just like overall nutrition and like health and well-being, that we are drinking water. Like, so it's like just the little things, right, that get so like you're so hyper focused on all the other stuff, that just small things like staying hydrated, making your bed in the morning so you're not like going back to it during the day. I found that to really, really, really help for myself, because if you are home or working from home, it gets easy, right? Like you want someplace comfy, especially when like the anxiety or depression hits, and it just gets easier to kind of like hermit and kind of curl back in. And especially in the winter, I think for me, a seasonal depression, like, okay, like that's sleep and comfy and kind of get away from all the seasonal and the depression stuff. It like, that was my go-to. But if I make my bed in the morning, I like 9 times out of 10, I don't go back in it.
Right.
So it's been huge.
It's like a mind trick,
Hmm.
it's like you go in, and if it's not like ready to be laid in, like
Mm-hmm.
Instinctively know. You don't even want to mess it up at that point. It looks
Right.
so pretty.
Right. And
But
that's the
yeah,
thing too, like if you know, and if you don't find joy when you go into like your space too, like maybe it's time to get, I don't know, a new piece of art in your room, or like something that brings you joy, you know, because I think there is a lot to like slowing down and getting off of the
I
daily.
love my pet.
Yes, yes.
I
Like
always
I
have
have
pretty
like
things.
the little, you know, pride flag and a
Yeah.
whole bunch of like family pictures and just like literally things that bring me joy. And I think that helps too. And I like sometimes I write little messages on the mirror just to remind myself of things, just to like interrupt that daily hustle, that daily grind a little bit, and just give yourself those little gentle reminders.
I miss doing that. I used to do that all the time too. I need to get some dry erase markers for my mirror, but I had all the positive affirmations all around. I'm a miracle magnet. I am powerful. I am woman.
Yes.
I am the best. Just all the things, all the positive things. And every time I looked in the mirror, it was just like programming my mind to believe a certain way about myself.
Right.
And sometimes it comes down to just faking it till you make it, right? Because you're not always going to feel that way. There's so many times where I'm just like, damn it, Megan, you did it again.
Right. Right. But what if we're like, so what? And we just keep doing it. Like that's all the difference, you
Right.
know?
I keep people entertained at least. I mean,
Right.
shoot.
And I think too, we like want ourselves to be perfect, but we have to fail, right, to get better. You know,
I'm
at some
perfectly
level.
imperfect.
Right?
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many benefits to um, um, doing doing the things and like reprogramming your thoughts and like doing the taps and the tastes. There's so many things that
Hmm.
you can do.
Yeah. And there really is. Like you get to, right, like search through yourself and like whatever works for you. I think, you know, meditation and yoga are huge ones for myself. And there's apps, and if you
I
go on
love yoga.
YouTube too, and you just search simple meditation, it doesn't have to be anything big. And I think there's stigmas around everything, right? So like, oh, meditation has to be done completely in silence, and you gotta have incense on, or just whatever, right? You can really learn how to meditate just within whatever you're doing daily. You go on a break and you're able to like meditate and like just get out of like the anxiousness of your work or whatever it may be. um
Yeah, yeah, and even Alex was telling me because I would like I fidget a lot with the
mhm.
ADHD and like the anxious, like the knee tapping, and um, I would struggle with meditation because of it, and I would just not do it because I felt like I wasn't doing it right. Now there's no right or wrong way to do it. You can actually meditate on your movement
Yeah.
and use that to focus on. I'm like, oh my God, well, would you look at that brilliance? It
Right.
was life changing. I'm like, so now I'm meditating to my taps. I look like a little crazy, but it works. It gets me to focus and be in the moment and
Right.
whatever
And that's
works.
what works for you. And like it's always just such a great moment, like when you figure out what works for you. And there's so many things. And I think too, like when it all comes back to when we become a student, right, of ourselves, like finding that inner happiness and inner peace and like wholeness is when we really start to try to figure out ourselves and figure out how we can fix ourselves, like ourselves fixing ourselves. Like what are we going to do? Because we know ourselves best, and we're always going to be able to advocate best, for ourselves and what is good mentally and physically for ourselves.
Right, exactly. Because that's really our hope for this platform is that we help empower and inspire people through our journey and through our experience, and that's why we're so excited about the guests that we have lined up. There's just so much to learn and share from each other, and I'm just so grateful for platforms and the ability to be able to connect with you guys, and we appreciate you so much. We've
Yes.
just moved light years ahead, light years. I can talk today. Words are hard.
We're done. Yeah. um so let's talk, maybe we want to go on to like what's coming up next for MR2, or
Yeah, what is coming up next? So many things.
So yeah, why don't you start with yours, the introduction of our pendants and stuff.
Yeah, so we've got more crystal sets coming up. We've got a ton of the pendants that we've already made that we haven't launched yet. I'm so sorry it's taking us a little bit of time on that, but we're going to get those launched this week as well, along with our meditation set to go along with the dream set and the dream journal that we have and the self-care club.
Yes.
I always want to say self-love.
Yes.
Same thing, right?
It's because there's a heart around it. It just automatically
Yeah,
makes
it's
you
just,
think.
I'm like self-love. I
Yeah.
go straight to love on that. We got some great t-shirts coming out for St. Patty's Day. Some really great natural medicine Canna community products coming out soon as well.
Yes.
Decals, of course, for days. We're just going to keep coming out with those. What else? What am I missing?
Yeah, so St. Patty's coming up. Yes, Canna community.
Oh, the abundance crystal set.
Yes.
Duh.
Yes,
For
yes,
St.
yes.
Patty's Day, to draw on all that luck and
Yes.
abundance.
And I love it too. Like if you, I mean, we're always learning, like I said, always students, but if you want to know more about crystals, so who we referenced, Judy Hall, right?
I love her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I think that's why it takes us a little bit longer too, because Megan has just such a love for crystals and like a passion for that sort of thing. So when it comes to like coming up with actual descriptions that like you guys can truly
You
learn
want to know
from
what
and
we're
trust
talking
in.
about, y'all. I don't just, I don't want to pull some random description. I do a lot of research on it because I'm really all about that natural healing, and I believe we're all divinely created along with these crystals, herbs, and natural medicines that we may not have had the opportunity to learn about. And I've dedicated years of my life to doing it, and I just want to portray the right information to you guys and share what I've learned along the journey. I mean, I have so much to learn. There's like, gosh, 1,000 crystals and gemstones to learn, and all the herbs, and we're going to be developing in the next few months the bath bombs with the essential oils, and learning the different herbs and stuff for the candles and incense, and again with the natural healing and helping with the meditation. We do sage all the time. It's an excellent antimicrobial. So I always burn that. If people around me are sick, I'm like, take this. Breathe in all the goodness,
And like being open to do that. So I just like challenge everybody to just maybe open your mind to like doing one thing maybe naturally. And it's not to say that you take away anything that you're doing now, but just try something natural, try something new, whether it be for your healing or your mindfulness or your self-care, just something for you specifically, not for anyone that you like have a title for in your life, or like just simply for you. Just really, really think on it and what do you want it to be. Don't come up with it so quick, because I think that first answer, it's like we just want to spit something out, right, just to get the answer. But maybe just think on it, sleep on it, and find something that you truly want to work on, because we would love to know, like, what are you doing? Because like we said, it's different for each individual.
Yeah, and we want to be able to, connect with everybody on some playing field or another. We want to relate, we want to connect, and we want to, have products and things that are going to, help you in the long term. So if you do have any ideas or anything that you do in your journey that you think might help, anything that you want to hear us talk about, things that you want us to advocate for. We're all about advocacy for everybody.
Yeah.
We want to know what you're passionate about, whether it's anti-bullying or breast cancer or childhood cancer, or St. Jude's is a big one that people want to help to advocate for, and autism awareness is a big thing, and neurodiversity is one that we're really plunging head right first into. That's what MonuMENTAL Minds is all about, is accepting each other and being able to connect with each other and learn and respect.
Yeah. No, I love that. And we want to be equal to everyone, but then we truly just need all of our people to really come in and like let us know what you need, and let us know what we need to stand up for, because that's what we want to do, right? We want to stand up for everybody. We want to make sure that everybody has that voice, or give them some sort of way to be heard or to be seen, no matter what your circumstances, circumstance or color or financial situation, like any of that, you know, because those aren't the things that really define us. It's really who we are as a person, at the end of the day. So, um,
Okay. And I think we should do like we'll do a lot of polls in the next weeks to come just to get a better idea of, you know, what you guys want us to talk about and do and the direction you want to see us head in. Because this is really all about you guys. And again, like she said, giving people a voice and just empowering and inspiring and elevating and supporting and building a community where everybody is accepted and welcome, and it doesn't matter where you come from, what you believe, you know, what your goals are, ambitions are. And that's a big part of why we have the guests that are lined up is we're going to be giving them a platform to really sponsor their business and sponsor the things that they work for and, you know, strive every day to breed up. I mean, we need to help empower and support the smaller business community and the independent entrepreneurs, and we want to give you that platform.
yeah, yeah, that's so important. Yeah, I'm so glad too that, you know, we will start asking more questions. And it's echoing. So sorry, I don't know if it was for everybody, but it was just echoing right there.
I just keep seeing like freezing. I keep
Hmm.
freezing and glitching in the weirdest times. So I don't know. Is it me? Is it my connection?
I don't know who.
Well, I mean, we were pretty much wrapping up anyway. I'm sorry, this isn't the smoothest exit ever. We got a comment from Kimberly Webb. The Sanbello app is guided cognitive behavior therapy application that is free, and depending on your insurance coverage, you can input your health plan info and unlock all of its premium features. Highly recommended for those who aren't ready to talk to a therapist or mental health professional. That's amazing. So that's the Sanbello app. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, so you have it.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Tell us a little bit more about that then.
Yeah, it's a great app, and it checks in like every day. And I really just go to the app list and see if you can get it. If you know, it's easier to start at first if you don't know what to do to take care of your mental health, to give yourself something that just gives you a little reminder. Um, so if it happens to be this app, great. Like I said, there's a few other self-care ones. Maybe we can get a list of self-care apps going, because I've had plenty of them. I love testing them out. So I want to get a list of self-care apps, but also self-care and just books that I really want to like self-development books, because I really want to share those with our whole community because they're making huge differences for us. So we'll get a list going.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great idea. That's a great idea because, you know, like Kim said, you know, some people just might not be ready to talk to a therapist, or it might just not be that. Like I know for Mika, it wasn't the outlet for her, and it wasn't, you know, having different outlets is really important. So, yeah, this is great. Thank you so much for sharing. That's a great idea. So let's get that started. I know I've got a couple apps that I use, like with setting the alarms and the timers. I have timers throughout the day for the self care, so that's really really great. Oh, thank you guys so much for everything. Is there anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so Kim just said it will actually connect you with a therapist if you choose to go that route, but it also promotes journaling and setting a custom program to check in on yourself daily. Oh my God, I love that. I need to get that.
Yeah, you're gonna have to check it out.
Yes, I'm so excited. See, we're learning every day, every moment. You know, we're still growing and learning, and that's we always want to keep growing. And I mean, the second that growth stops, we start regressing immediately, and that's the last thing we want to do. So thank you so much for everything. We appreciate you so much. Make sure you stay tuned again for MonuMENTAL Minds next week at 6 p.m. Central, possibly 7, depending on our guests. I know we're really excited we still got Shelby as one of our guest speakers. We got Bianca Galindo coming up in the next few weeks. So make sure you stay tuned. And I love you guys so much. Thank you again for all your support. If you haven't already, make sure you're following us on all platforms. We are literally on just about everything now, except for Twitter. We won't go there. But we're on YouTube now. Super excited. As us personally as individuals, Mariah's got her YouTube page. I got mine. And then we got MR2 Connections that we're just got launched yesterday. Actually, we just got that figured out. So we're going to be uploading all the videos from our past episodes. This is episode number 5 of MonuMENTAL Minds. We couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, thank you, thank you again. And make sure you stay tuned. Until then, keep those good vibes spreading.
That's right.